What's up, y'all? TBrown31 here with JaboctheGreat. Once again, we are back with the last word. We're gearing up for another weekend in football, but the biggest news so far this week is in the NBA, surprisingly, with Damian Lillard being involved in a three-team trade where he has ended up with your Milwaukee Bucks. I know you're excited about this, so I'm going to just turn it over to you. What was your first reaction when you saw this?
Was definitely shocked. We heard that there was, other East teams that were on the rise, kind of trying to take Dame from Miami because Miami wasn't doing enough, I guess. And didn't really, you never heard the Bucks name. The Raptors started to get up there. I think Shams actually said that the Raptors got him. Not true. And then I opened my phone just randomly on like a lunch break, and I see Dame in a Bucks jersey. I'm like, whoa, very exciting. A lot of big things going on in this trade. I'll break down the trade details, and as a Bucks fan, I can definitely give my thoughts on the trade. The Bucks, of course, essentially just get Dame out of this one. I took a three-team trade to pull it off, but a big move for them, adding in a lot of offensive, a really good complementary player to Giannis. Not to say that Dame's not a superstar, but their superstar tendencies work very well together. So massive trade for Milwaukee. Both of those players, I think, have been vocal about wanting to play together as well. So that's interesting. Portland will end up getting Drew Holiday from the Bucks. DeAndre Ayton comes in from the Suns. They also get Tamani Kamara and some draft picks from the Bucks. Big for Portland. Honestly, the Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton adding into that starting lineup wouldn't be horrible for the Blazers, but they seem intent on not keeping Drew. I don't know about Ayton, so I'm not sure how that would go. Drew is a veteran point guard. They have a lot of depth at the guard position over there or young depth at the guard position for Portland. So maybe they want to keep building that up. And the Suns, of course, get rid of DeAndre Ayton, and I think they kind of add in DeAndre Ayton as they get Yusuf Nurkic from the Blazers. They do get Grayson Allen from the Bucks, and they get Nasir Little and Keon Johnson as well. They're pretty big trade. Obviously, the Suns have been building a super team over in this offseason with Bradley Beal, adding in Yusuf Nurkic and Grayson Allen, adds in a lot more offense, I guess, for the center position for Nurkic. Is a little more confident than Aiden is usually, and you get some sort of defense for the Suns out of Grayson Allen. A little bit of a menace, so we'll
Yeah.
see how they handle that one. And then yeah, I think this is obviously I don't think any of these three teams lose this trade, but the Bucks really come out and they look really good. They lose a considerable amount of guard defense on that starting five with Drew Holiday gone, but they uptick their offense a lot. I mean, you still have good defenders on the team. You have people like Giannis, like Brook Lopez, like Bobby Portis who could play, and you have really good shooting added in this offseason with Damian Lillard, of course, being one of the best shooters you've seen in a long time. They added Malik Beasley in the offseason, pretty good 3-point shooter. And we still got, of course, the core duo of Giannis and Chris. So I think the Bucks are going to look really good. I think it's going to be a lot more offense and a little less defense. But as we see in the playoffs, Drew Holiday did have some big struggles, even defensively against the Heat. Just wasn't able to be as dominant as he was in that title run. So I really hate that they lost Drew Holiday in this trade. I'll say that. Just a phenomenal player, great guy, a guy who just said he wanted to retire a Buck. So really sucks that he has moved on just kind of unceremoniously in this trade. But I think it makes sense. Bucks have been in rumors about Giannis wanting to potentially leave if the Bucks aren't focused on getting a title. I think there's no better way to say we want the title than to go out and get a guy like Dame, who at 33 years old just had a career year last year. So yeah, healthy Chris Middleton, Damian Lillard, Giannis, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, a pretty dominant team. They've got good depth on the bench as well. Got a new coach and Adrian Griffin. Have to see how that goes. But Griffin definitely has a good ensemble of players to work with. And I think with Chris Middleton healthy, that we could have one of the best big threes in the NBA this season.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much kind of had the same reaction. I know you texted me about it. I got notification from ESPN. And I was completely shocked because, like you said, we saw the reports of another East team, possibly being in play, making a move for him. And wasn't the Raptors. I know that was reported, like you said, but the Bucks. They were probably one of the last teams I was even thinking about making a move. But I think the move makes sense. Like you said, Drew Holiday, he is He's been there the past few years. He was obviously on the team that won the championship a couple years ago. Um, him playing as well as he did was a big part of that. That's pretty much the conversation we've been having about the Bucks for past 5 years, ever since Giannis entered that top five player category, winning those first three MVPs. It's really going to come down to, we know Giannis is going to play well in the playoffs. It's just a matter of how well his supporting cast plays. And as good as Drew Holiday was, obviously Damian Lillard was going to bring so much more on the offensive side as far as scoring goes. Drew obviously he did distribute the ball well, um, played well on defense, but obviously the main thing here is you're going to get more scoring with Damian Lillard and Chris Middleton. Whenever he's on, he's on. He can put up a whole lot of points. He can shoot well whenever he's good and when he's healthy. So I wouldn't say we won't shouldn't have to expect as much out of him anymore. But obviously, he's not going to be the number two anymore. It'll be, I guess, a 1A, 1B kind of situation, but 1, 2, 3 situation with Giannis, Dame, and then Chris Middleton. So he's not going to have to do as much. If he doesn't have as great of a night, it's not going to kill them like it would before, because we saw many times in the playoffs where Chris, he didn't shoot well. Even if Giannis didn't play well or played well, then if Chris wasn't doing well, you just couldn't win. So having a number one scoring option there, alongside your multiple time MVP, future Hall of Famer that's just entering his prime, and Damian Lillard. This is interesting. Damian Lillard was drafted just a year before Giannis, but they're about 4.5 years apart in age. But Damian Lillard's not really showing any signs of slowing down. So that's, like you said, he's only 33. That's not really a concern. So basically, still, in his prime, essentially. Giannis in his prime right now. Chris Middleton right there. So yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty good Big Three. Um, One team we didn't mention, obviously, is the Heat. Uh, I know they are probably pretty frustrated with how things went down. There's a lot of reports coming out now that you really don't know what's true and what's not. I've heard reports that Pat Riley pretty much gave him an offer and was not going to budge on that. And that's fine. I mean, if they were going to have to give up Jimmy Butler to get Dame, then at that point, I just didn't really. There would be no point in doing that, because you're swapping star for star at that point, and it's like, why would you get rid of Jimmy after all he's done for them for the past 3 years? So I get that from the Heat's perspective. Obviously, they would have wanted to pair Jimmy with Dame. So in that sense, it doesn't make any sense. So I get that. Um, but the Raptors, that was interesting too. I don't know where that came out of all of a sudden. I'm not sure if Shams did report that or not, but if he did, he obviously wasn't correct. But yeah, that one would have been weird too. Can't really see him in Toronto. I don't think that would have. It's not like he had complete control over where he went, but I can't really see him doing that either. So yeah, I think the Bucks move. Like, now, I was surprised, like you said, like I said earlier when I first saw it. But looking at it now, even though they do lose some of that defense with Drew, they still got Giannis, who's great on defense. They still got Brook Lopez. So being able to keep him, that was a big move as well. So yeah, I think this is looking like a really good team. And they should be back to at least getting out of the first round, in the Eastern Conference, and making a pretty good playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, like this whole offseason, I was not expecting the Bucks to go after Dame. It wasn't like in consideration. As a Bucks fan, I wasn't like, man, I can't wait to get Dame. I think we joked about it as Bucks fans after the elimination to Miami. We're like, time to go get Dame. But no, I didn't think that was real. But after the deal goes down, it just really makes sense. Right? It's such a complimentary deal. Giannis and Dame's play styles will work so much. Dame can finally play with people who defend the rim. I mean, he gets Brook Lopez and Giannis in the paint. He and Chris Middleton can do a lot of work. I've been seeing things about this is going to be similar to the Suns, I'm sure, because of how much offensive talent is there. But somebody like Chris Middleton, who, like you said, is not going to have such a defined or such a big role. He can step down a little bit and not have so much weight on his shoulders. Might actually have a field day because defenses are going to be trying to figure out how to stop both Giannis and Dame at the same time. And so it's just going to be a really good combination to have guys like that. You still have dominant paint players like Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, probably off the bench I'm assuming. We might see Malik Beasley in the starting lineup. Not sure. Um, but yeah, like I said, this one I didn't really think about this deal very much in the offseason. I never was considering that Dame would be a Milwaukee Buck, but it once it's here now that it came to fruition, it actually really makes sense. So I think the Bucks GM John Horst made a really good move here. Again, really sucks to lose Reality, but I'm excited to see what Adrian Griffin can do with Dame. Giannis should be a fun season. Honestly, when the Bucks have been the number 1 seed, it hasn't gone well in the playoffs. Maybe hopefully that we don't get all the way up there. But it would be great, and I think this team it should be a lock to get out of the first round. But we have seen these big threes these past few seasons not do as well as advertised. So hopefully the Bucks break that mold. As a Bucks fan, of course, that's my ultimate hope. But I'm excited nonetheless.